The New World Order.
Those are the roots of trouble.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of election, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
And now, welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. Here's your host from federaljack.com. It's Popeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's live edition. It is April 11th, 2013, and you are listening to me live here on Unbound Radio, unboundradio.com. I have an interesting broadcast for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. First segment, as you know, is always short, so when we come back, I will be bringing on my guest for the evening, which is none other than the Freedom Link's main man, ringmaster, Mr. Joe Joseph himself. And tonight, I have him coming on because the two of us are going to be getting into what's all this craziness that's going on with gun control and the legislation literally being slammed down people's throats. You have Senate Republicans that love to play like they're on different sides, right? But you have a bunch of turncoat Senate Republicans that think it's a good idea, and we should at least have a vote on it. And if you look in what they want to do, one of the deals that they reached is gun registration. They want a gun registration, and registration always leads to confiscation. And you can argue that point and try to tell me no, and Joe and I will get into it, and you can try to tell me or him no, but I don't care what you say. Registration has always led to confiscation throughout history. Why else would you need to register the guns unless you wanted to take them? See, the point of registering them is to know who has them so they know who to target. Dummies. And I'm speaking to the people that, oh no, they would never do that. Really? Go pick up a history book. One that's not edited and controlled by the Rockefeller Foundation, but pick up a real history book and thumb through it a bit. And you tell me. Take a gander. They did it in Nazi Germany. They've done it all throughout the world. There's too many to sit and list. You want to see a good example of what happens when the citizens are disarmed? Go watch the movie Innocence Betrayed. It's on YouTube. Innocence Betrayed. The true history of gun control. Go watch it. I don't make any money off of telling you to go watch it. Go watch it. I had an argument with a Piers Morgan supporter yesterday, and some British idiot. I don't understand why people love guns. I sent him a link to it. I said, watch this. Maybe you'll understand. He didn't. Watch the movie, Innocence Betrayed. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. So, what is going on with the craziness? The gun control craziness. Do you see the ramping up of how they're the appeal to emotion, as I tried to expose yesterday. In fact, I know I didn't try. I did a very good job of exposing it yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to listen to the broadcast, go back and listen to the April 10th edition of DTRH. It's all appeal to emotion. They use fear. They use sadness. Oh, those poor children. If you don't do something about gun control, common sense legislation, we need universal background checks. First of all, their theory that illegal guns and guns that are used in crimes are purchased at gun shows is a lie. Okay, if you go to a gun show and you buy from a dealer at a gun show, they do a background check. At least here in Florida. Maybe a couple other states are a little different, but I know if you go to a dealer, a licensed firearm dealer, at a gun show, in what a lot of people would think is the crazy state or the wild, wild west, right, of crazy state Florida, and you have to do a background check. And guess what? If you don't have a concealed weapons permit, you don't take the gun home that day. 5-day waiting period. They'll contact you and tell you when you can come to their place to pick it up. I've seen people get really pissed off. But it's the way it is. So this universal background check thing, garbage. And I'm going to get into that a little more, but first I want to bring up my guest for this evening and let him get his coffee and stretch his legs because he just did an hour of radio on top of being the program director here at Unbound and having a full-time job. He also found the extra time to come on the broadcast tonight. Joe.
Hot diggity!
Welcome to the broadcast again.
Oh boy, gun control, my favorite.
Well, that's why I wanted you on, because you and I were having this pretty righteously pissed off conversation earlier today about all this. And I was like, we need to go on air and talk about this. Because, I mean, look, a lot of people, and back in the day, you know, you and I have talked about confiscation and all these laws and craziness that they want to try to push. And we tried to do it with a calm demeanor. And I'm still trying to be calm about it, but this is really important. This is not, you know, me going, oh, relax. No, I can be calm about it, but this is really, really, they're going for the guns, dude. They really are.
Yeah, they sure are.
And doesn't mean they're going to be successful. But
I'm telling you, man, well, even if they're not, or even if they are, here's what's going on, and this is my thought, is that North Korea is nothing but a sham, a smokescreen for taking the guns away and or having some sort of event that helps to implode this country's economy and everything else. Well, they want to take the guns away and or make it harder for people to use guns and or know where the guns are going to be. So that's why they want this increased background check requirement that will lead to gun registration, because that is ultimately what you get here. And this North Korea thing came out yesterday. Hey, guess what? The U.S. envoy had a meeting with the North Korean envoy in March, a secret meeting at that. So what could they possibly have been talking about? And then conveniently after that all goes down, that's when the rhetoric starts ramping up.
Yep, they're like, hey, you look, come here. You're going to be our convenient pain in the ass for the next couple of months because we have to pass some legislation, and we need all the people looking in the left hand and not looking at the right hand.
That's right.
That's exactly probably what they did. And people go, oh, but that would mean there's a global conspiracy. Welcome to the broadcast. You know what I'm saying? Welcome. Golf clap for you. Welcome. You know, thank you for paying attention. Yes.
That's right.
This isn't a joke. I mean, this is the real deal. This is, you know, I don't think this, I don't want to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, you know, oh, they're coming for the guns. They are. But I think we can turn this into a good thing. You know, it's like facing a bully, right, Joe? Eventually, You're going to have to face the bully. What's worse, facing the actual bully and finally standing him, you know, face to face and kicking the living crap out of him, or the anxiety of what could happen and what might happen? It's usually the anxiety that's worse. So let's stop. Oh my God, they could do this, they could do that. Everybody needs to throw down what they're doing, pay attention to this, and stand up and say, no. Okay? We need to actually get our balls back. And this has to be the issue. There is no other, I mean, if you want it, you could pussyfoot about a bazillion other things. because you could always fall back to the Second Amendment to defend any of the other ones. But if you take away your teeth and your claws, you got nothing left to defend your free speech or anything. And for those morons out there that say, oh, I love free speech, but guns should go, guess what? Your free speech will be the next thing to go.
Well, no, they can. Hey, if you don't want to have guns, fine, don't have guns. That's your choice. But don't make the choice for somebody else. If they want to defend their family, if they want to go target shooting, it doesn't matter. It's not your place to say or judge what people do, what people eat, what people own. It doesn't matter.
Well, I think it's very two-faced because the very same people that'll tell you not to judge somebody by their... I said this on air before. You shouldn't judge black people because they're black. Okay, fair enough. That's a valid, logical argument. Why are you judging a scary rifle because it's black then? Ah! And people can go, oh, that's different. No, it's not different. If you look at a base argument, you're judging something on the way it looks, not the way it functions or how it acts, correct? So they're doing to quote-unquote scary guns and gun owners exactly what they would preach that you shouldn't do to anybody else, whether it's a whatever minority, black people, Hispanic, doesn't matter. People can go, oh, that's a kind of a weird argument. No, it's not. They're judging the gun based on it's got how do they classify a quote-unquote assault rifle? They say anything that you can attach stuff, if you can attach stuff to it, it's an assault rifle. That all these bills that ban assault rifles, that's like their classification is if you can add things to it.
But it's only an assault rifle if you own it. Well, but if the government owns it, it's like a personal protection device or something. I can't even remember what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they call it something totally different. Oh, well, that's not an assault rifle. Oh, really? Bears a striking resemblance.
Well, there's a big difference between an actual assault rifle and a semi-automatic rifle anyway. I mean, assault rifles have been illegal to the general public since the 1930s. Not since around the time of Bonnie and Clyde have I...
Which is BS, too, by the way.
Oh, of course, but I don't recall seeing anybody running around with a Browning automatic rifle since, like, Bonnie and Clyde, so... You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
I would like to see more people run around with Browning automatic rifles, personally. And perhaps, like, the violin case, You know
what? I'll tell you what, things were much different back then. They might not have liked organized crime, and those guys might not have been good people, but at least... let's say at least there was somebody that was, evenly gunned with the powers that shouldn't be at the time. Why do you think they took them on? They feared them, and then they just ended up working with them, and now they work hand in hand with each other. I love when people are like, "Oh, the government busts the mafia." Yeah, that's only so they have leverage on them, so they can use them for things. Let's get real, okay?
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean, look, they learned the government learned from them a lot of their techniques. You know why Hoover said the mafia never existed? We'll sidetrack for a second. You know why he said this?
Why did Hoover say the mafia never existed?
He testified to Congress there was no such thing as organized crime. You know that, right? He was, there's no such thing, blah, blah. Yeah, of course there was. Putz, you're part of it.
Well, that's because he, they had the pictures of him as a cross-dresser.
Yes. Him and Clyde Tolson.
Yeah.
And they had leverage on him. And back then, maybe now that coming out, people would be like, who cares, right? But back then, that was a real major, that would have screwed his career and everything. So that was kept on the DL. Shh, don't say anything. So the mafia went to him and said, hey, we don't exist, right? Because if we exist, these exist. And he was like, no, you don't exist. That's how they do things. And things are run like that today. They just
now it's more pervasive than ever before.
Well, dude, they have did you see this secret meeting they just had with these Republican sellouts? I can't stand using the term Republican or Democrat. They're all scumbags. We should just call them Congress critters. We come up with a new name for them. Republicrats, whatever you want to call them. But they sold out. And some of these had like A+ ratings with the NRA. One of them is Tom Colburn from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
One that tried to hide the whole FEMA camp thing with Jesse Ventura?
Yes.
Made him look like a moron?
Yes.
Oh, but he's a great guy. Everybody thought in between that and now that he was such a great conservative.
You know what? My guest tonight, he was saying, it's the love your jailer syndrome. Everybody just seems to love your slave master, It's like, these people, it doesn't matter who it is or or what party they belong to or anything else. It just seems like you just like to be tortured. It's that Stockholm syndrome, and that's what a lot of people in this country have. Stockholm syndrome. You love your slave master. Oh, yeah, I mean, just give me more. When we know time and time and again that's all they do is just beat us down.
Dude, pick up a history book, and like I said before, that hasn't been edited by the Rockefeller-funded Department of Education, but pick up a history book, right? And a real one, and go look at what happens to what's happened in the past. Or just 60 years alone. Well, 70. We'll say, because World War II is actually a little further back than my brain wants to admit that I'm getting too old. Anyway, when I was younger, it was 60 years ago. Now it's a little longer, Popeye. But, if you look from, we'll say, World War II till now, okay, and that's what, a 60-year period, 60, 70-year period. First of all, how many, we'll say, restrictions on freedom have come? Because I don't know how else to put it. I don't want to say laws because that makes it sound official. But how many restrictions, whatever you want to call it, the level of restrictions of freedom between in the past 70 years till now, right, has been ramping up exponentially. And I would say in the past, I know even 30 years ago things were being done to like clamp down on
Sure.
police state and everything else. But I would say in the past, I would, honestly, since 9/11. I mean, I know Clinton tried a lot of stuff, but it wasn't. It's almost like they were testing the waters back then, and they couldn't ramp it up. You know what I'm saying? Like now, I would say since 9/11, but leading up to it, and then since then, it's been like this. Every year, it's exponentially growing. 100.
Well, yeah, they got their boogeyman now. You see, at first it was the Arabs. The Muslims, they did it. You notice how the boogeyman now has shifted away from the Muslims, and now it's towards like Christians and constitutionalists.
Oh yeah, of course. Still
and veterans.
Still religious people, and still people
Right.
that have military training, but just
Exactly.
they don't have turbans on their heads. Now they're the scary vet next door. And you notice all the stories about vets going to fight with Al Qaeda.
Yeah, but terrorism, you see, especially this war on terror, has no borders and no face. The enemy, you don't know who your enemy is. That's why you ever notice when you're in your neighborhood, you move into a new neighborhood and everything like that, the welcoming committee doesn't come out anymore to greet you. You don't get that knocking, hey, neighbor, nice to meet you.
That's true. You used to get pies and stuff.
Oh, yeah, now it's
Now they come out with cameras. They're like, who the
people
hell?
are looking through their blinds. Hey, Martha, look, we got a new neighbor. Well, boy, they're weird. Now that it's just, that's what you get. You got InfraGard now, where they're just, the DHS is feeding the civilians, and civilians are feeding back, information. And it's just, we've got this, like, mass paranoia going on that's just feeding all this. And you wonder why we have problems and issues. When it was a much more simple time, we didn't have all this crap. We didn't have all these issues. So if you want to, the way to fight this is just to cool out.
Well,
That's really a good start.
For one, people need to chill out, dude. I mean, the government, they don't, when anything ever happens, even if it's real and it's not, created by them, even if it's a real situation, they come on TV and they stoke fear. They don't come on and tell everybody to be calm, relax, we'll handle the situation like a bunch of adults and everything. No. They come on, oh my God, could you imagine if that was your kid? Oh my God, you should be scared, crapless. They do quite the opposite of what they should. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a break sneaking up on us. Don't go anywhere. All the more reason to look to yourself for the answer and not to some putz in a suit. That's right. The ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. That's because they're given to her by Big Pharma. Actually, they do things, just not what you're told. You ever read the side effects of those pills, Joe?
Which ones?
Any of them.
Oh, come on now. The one I like the one especially that it was for restless leg syndrome that gave women the impulsive. They couldn't help it. It was like a involuntary reaction to gamble and have sex. And this was on the commercial on TV, and you're like, good grief. Are you serious? And they're marketing this? All right.
But hey, that stuff's better than cannabis. because, El Natural from the earth, hey, that's evil, but something that side effect makes you want to go have, like, nighttime sleep sex or whatever and sleep gambling.
Yeah, and then, just this impulsive urge to gamble.
Jeez. Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, but I mean, that's just one of many. I mean, you got so many different drugs out there now that do have these major side effects. Yes, Celebrex has that, tell your doctor if you take this, or that, as it could cause stroke or instant death. Thank you.
Dude, my favorite was the asthma drug that could cause asthma-related death. And it's like, wait a minute. Hold up a minute. I'm not a scientist or anything. I wouldn't classify myself as a physicist or a pharmacist or a rocket scientist or anything. But I think with a little bit of common sense, you can look at a side effect of an asthma drug being asthma-related death as not a good thing. Right? It doesn't take a group of, physicists to look at this and go, something's wrong here. I think a mildly retarded monkey with one eye could see it. You know what I mean? There's something wrong. When you have to take 6 medications to counter the the side effects of the one that you're taking for, like, you have some sort of problem, and, this is a miracle drug. The only problem is it gives you, chance of stroke, heart attack, and anal leakage. That's fun. You have to wear a diaper. That's lovely. But hey, your agita is gone. How about you just don't eat the crap food you're eating? How about stop eating McDonald's, right? And all this horrific GMO crap, or stuff with MSG and all this other garbage in it. Stop eating all that horrific garbage, and perhaps you won't have heartburn. Perhaps you'll be able to you'll be able to actually have a night of rest without the aid of 16 medications. You ever see what some of these medications do? Let's look at the heartburn medication for a second. And I'm going off on a tangent here, I know. We'll get back into gun control for a minute, but this is just something it's been bothering me, and every time I turn my head, if it's on a radio show or commercial, not mainstream, not internet based, but even some of them sometimes, depending if they buy into it. But TV, anything, and I if you see a TV commercial, really I only see the commercials on YouTube if I'm watching a clip. But even there, everything is medication, 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 medication. Big pharma, big pharma, big pharma. It's insane. And you can't talk to somebody now. Go try to have a conversation with somebody for 5 minutes without a medicine coming up. Don't talk about cannabis, none of that. Go just sit down and have a conversation for 5, we'll even stretch it out. I'll even let you go further, 10 minutes. I'm willing to bet you can't go 10 minutes in a conversation nowadays without some sort of medication coming up, whether it's aspirin, something for their stomach, some hardcore painkiller. You ever see how some of this stuff works? The stuff for the stomach, it shuts off the pumps that create acid in your stomach. Well, you have an over-acidic stomach. Well, hold on a minute. Hold up. How is that good for you? You know what I'm saying? Don't buy into it just because some putz in a lab coat says to you, oh, well, I think it's good. Blah, 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 blah. They don't know anything that they weren't told by the rep that gave them the drug. There's a good book out there. I'm actually looking at getting the author on as a guest. If I remember correctly, the title is something like Confessions of an RX Drug Pusher. Go, just look it up on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find other interviews where she's done already. She tells you exactly what she used to do. She says, doctors don't know. These new medications come out. How could they possibly know? Were they there? No, the only thing they know is what they're given by the company pushing the drug. Think about it. All right, we're going to break. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I want to remind everybody, check out Unbound Radio over on Facebook. Unbound Radio. Just look us up and give us a big old thumbs up. Like the page. And you can find us on Twitter. It's Unbound Radio Net. Just look up Unbound Radio Net, and you'll see the Unbound logo, and follow us on Twitter. And we try to notify everybody every day when the hosts are coming on and stuff. And pretty soon it'll be we're working on making it almost an automated process to notify each time a new broadcast is coming on. So we're tweaking everything social media wise and site wise, but every day it just keeps growing and getting better and better and better. So I'm super excited to be part of the network. I want to give a big shout out to Shepard and Bellis and say thank you again for having me on the network. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for giving me this awesome platform to do excellent broadcasts with. And big shout out to Joe Joseph. And unfortunately, Joe had to run during the break. He had to take care of a few things. Something came up, a bit of an emergency, and that is the way life is. And so family comes first. So nothing major, but he had to go take care of some stuff. So we'll be talking to Joe again soon. Hope everything works out. So I want to get back into the gun control thing because I want to focus on this more as much as I can today. Tomorrow, I have a guest coming on. The older listeners to my show know who he is. For the newer listeners, it'd be kind of a treat for you. His name is Vince Palomera, and if you've ever seen the Men Who Killed Kennedy series, most people only know that they think there's only 6 parts to it, but there's actually 3 missing pieces. And Vince was in part 7. He's also known as the Secret Service expert, and he's got a book coming out in a few months on this very subject, and I've had him on numerous occasions before. And for the newer listeners, the JFK assassination is one of the things I guess you could say I specialize in, focus on, whatever. And I often have many guests on discussing the assassination, authors, researchers, and Vince is actually both of those. He's an author and a researcher. So tomorrow night, it's going to be 2 hours of the JFK assassination. We're going to be going over the Secret Service stand down. And, for those of you that don't think it's important, it's important on a multitude of levels, but one of the ways that they passed the Gun Control Act in '68 was with all the shootings of Martin Luther King and Bobby and JFK. And of course it was the government doing it, but hey, never let a good crisis go to waste, right, Rom? So that's how they do things, and it's not like he came up with that theory. Obviously, he learned that from somebody, whoever taught it to him, and that's the way these people operate. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So make sure you tune in for that. All right, I want to get back onto the gun control issue. People, you need to stand up. This is a time to actually get pissed off, okay? And you need to stand up and say no. When people say, well, we don't really have any teeth, what are we going to do? Blah, 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 blah. They have all the power. First of all, go look up something called the Dick Act of 1902. Can't be repealed at all, ever. Gun control forbidden, basically, because of it. You're just not told about it. This is why I have a big issue with the NRA. The NRA is one of the most useless organizations ever created. I'm going to piss off a lot of pro-gun people by saying that, but they are. They're the most useless organization when it comes to gun rights ever created. Wayne LaPierre is useless as a spokesperson. How much money do you NRA members, and I used to be one, but not anymore, how much money have you NRA members pumped into the NRA between the date of the Newtown shooting and now, April 11th, 2013? A couple days shy of 5 months. How much money do you think's been pumped into the NRA in that 5-month period of time? Anyone? A lot. I don't have the figures in front of me, but I'm willing to bet a lot. How about beforehand? All these years. How about people that have been members for 20-something years? Right? What's the deal? How come they haven't used $5 of it to put up a defense? How come nobody's asking that of the NRA? Oh, they're formulating a plan, Popeye. No, they're not. Did you hear what I played the other day from the UK and from Australia We were waiting for the truth to come out, but it never came out. Of course it's not going to come out because you're not doing anything. The key word, you're waiting. That's your first problem. You're waiting for somebody to come rescue you again. NRA, Wayne LaPierre, please come to our rescue. And where are they? I hear crickets. Well, Popeye, they've come to our defense. They came out with a good idea. Okay, their idea, their reaction to the Newtown school shooting and their idea blew. Okay? Let's just be honest. It blew. There's no soft way to put it. Well, let's put more armed guards in school. That's good. Let's make it a police state. That's real good. Well done, NRA. Beat it. Jack-offs. No use for them. I don't care anybody listening that's a liaison. You can try to email me and tell no, Popeye, they're great. No, I was a member for a very long time. You know what? My father was a lifetime member. My grandfather, all these people in my family were my uncle. All these people were members of the NRA. My brother. All the thousands and thousands of dollars that they sent in alone. How many millions of dollars have these morons got? Wayne LaPierre. Hey, Wayne LaPierre. Dick Act of 1902. How about bringing that up? How about doing anything? They're not doing anything. What if they released maybe a commercial here or there, if that? And then when something does actually get released, people are like, oh, it's the NRA that's pushing this. No, it's not. It's not even the NRA. I mean, the anti-gun people can't even get their story straight, but that's not new. But everybody's waiting on the NRA. Oh, they'll do something. Yeah, they'll do something. They're going to stick it right in our rear ends. That's what they're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. Stop waiting. What the hell is wrong with you people? Do you not realize if they take away your teeth and your claws, you have nothing left? You are screwed. Think about it. If you take a cat and you take all of its claws out, front and back, and you take its teeth out, its whatever you call them, canine fangs, whatever you want to call them, those big saber-toothed looking teeth that all cats have in the front, or fangs, whatever they are. Dr. Pujo's listening. I'm sure he could tell me what you would call, I guess, fangs, whatever. Take them out. Take out all the claws, and then take that cat and throw him out in the woods. Let's see how long Kitty Cat survives. I bet you it's not too long. If he's got his claws and his teeth, well, then maybe somebody tries to violate that cat's rights in some way, shape, or form, tries to hurt the cat. Cat can defend itself. But without claws and without teeth, the cat is screwed. So why would you, if you wouldn't do that to your own cat, because most people nowadays know that declawing cats is cruel, right, what they actually do to them. So if you wouldn't do that to your cat, if you wouldn't take away his claws, I would, if my cat gets out, he needs those weapons to defend himself. Then why the hell would you go to your government and say, you know what, I don't need this Second Amendment. You're right. You realize the irony that's going on, right? Our government is telling you that you don't need your Second Amendment. The Second Amendment was enumerated, I won't say given to you because it's not granted or anything, but enumerated. It was the Second Amendment is what it is to protect you from a tyrannical government telling you to give up your guns and that they will do everything for you. Does anybody get the catch the irony there? The tyrannical government is saying you don't need your Second Amendment, give me your guns. And you're going, no, the Second Amendment grants me, or enumerates my right, I shouldn't say grants, but it enumerates my right to protect myself. That was granted to me by whatever creative energy that force, God, whatever you want to call it, that created me when I was born, out of my mother's womb. No, I'm the government, trust me, you can't have that Second Amendment. We know what's good for you. But the Second Amendment clearly states that it's there to protect from this very garbage. No. You want to kill babies and you hate people and freedom and we're a much more civilized society. We don't need that. Really? And some people are buying this. There are people that, oh my God, those poor kids. I talked about this yesterday. I got into an argument with one of Piers Morgan's followers because she kept tweeting me, telling me how heartless I was. I must not have emotions. No, I just don't let my emotions rule me, lady. There's a big difference. I use logic. If we allowed emotions to rule us, we would still be, caveman era. That was part of the problem. Og didn't know really how to deal with too many situations other than clubbing people over the head or hitting them with a rock or something, right? Do we need to regress? Can we at least stay where we're at, if not advance? Do we have to take 10, 15 steps back? Go look up the Khmer Rouge. Go look what happened when the citizens weren't armed, what the Khmer Rouge did to them. Go look. Oh, but genocide's not possible. This is the United States. They can have my guns. I'll still have my football. No, you won't, moron. There was 85%, something like 85%, 86%. CNN did a poll the other day, and it was 85 or 86%, somewhere around there, 80-something% of the people that they polled said that if the government enacts new gun control measures, that they'll confiscate firearms. And CNN was like, America, ha ha ha, you're crazy. Like, they blew it off because they really can't. What are they going to do? Attack 86%? It was like when the Bin Laden death story came out a couple years ago, the 15th or 10th or whatever the frig version it was of it, when they came out with that, and they started calling people deathers. Anybody that didn't believe that Bin Laden was killed, they were like, "Oh, the deathers are out there." It was a term literally that night. It would go look. Type in Bin Laden deather in Google or YouTube, and if it hasn't been scratched or scrubbed, I'm sure you'll find it. They started using this term, but it quickly had to get scrubbed from their lexicon. You know why? Because at the time it was, 88 or 90% or something like that of people they were polling didn't believe the official story and thought it was shady and thought it was bogus, the whole Bin Laden death thing. So they had to stop using that term because there were so many people that didn't believe it. If they kept saying deather, and they started using a label like 9/11 truther or birther, see, there's always an or an ism or an ist, right? If they started using that and hammering that home, and that many people didn't believe the official story, it would widen that gap. Now it's going to instantaneously verify what a lot of these people already believe, because now they're going to see the mainstream media hammering them. So they know how to play this game, they being the mainstream mind control. That's what it really is. It's not media. The mainstream mind control. The MMC. I think I just came up with a new term for the media. The MMC. Mainstream mind... Okay, sorry. MSMC. Wow, it almost sounds official, like some sort of military rank or branch of the military. The MSMC. The mainstream mind control. It's all propaganda. They don't do any real reporting. They come on and they get you all riled up. Oh my God, you should feel horrible and so ashamed of yourself. What kind of scumbag are you? You hate children. Or, oh my God, in your sock drawer, Al-Qaeda and white Christians teaming up together to kill you. News at 11. And most people see through it now. I would say out of 10 people, I would say 5, maybe 4 out of 5, 4 to 5 out of those 10 will see through it. But there's still a bunch of people that go, Al-Qaeda's in my sock drawer and white Christians are coming to get me. Ooh. We're going to break, ladies and gentlemen. See through the fear porn. Gun owners, anybody that cares about freedom, anybody that's paid attention to anything that the people that have already been disarmed in other countries have said, go look up the Dick Act of 1902, otherwise known as the Efficiency of Militia Bill, H.R. 11654. Again, the Efficiency of Militia Bill, H.R. 11654. Start calling your senators. Start calling everybody and their mother. And you know what? Let's not just call. People We need to start, like, showing up. They're voting on this stuff. This is a short segment, but in the next hour, I'm going to read a clip, thanks to Dr. Pujo. I'm going to read a article, a posting, whatever you want to call it, that was put out by Gun Owners of America today. I guess, within the past few minutes. And I'm going to, they lay out pretty much where we are right now and where things stand. And it's not good. They're going to try to slam things in there all quiet, like when everybody was happy that Feinstein's assault weapons ban got knocked down. Oh, it's never going to make it through the Senate. I said they were playing possum. Well, I was right, unfortunately. I wish I was wrong. I wish I could come on air and say, nope, I was wrong. We're good to go. I read it wrong. But no. I didn't read it wrong. They're coming for the guns. And I'm going to show you how when I read, because Gun Owners of America laid it out. But they really want to take your guns. Now, we can stop this. Here's what I was telling Joe, that this could be a good thing. It's time to stand up. The anxiety of dealing with a bully, right, is worse than actually dealing with the bully himself. If you finally just stand up and kick the crap out of the bully and get it over and done with. So let's stop being a bunch of sissies. And I'm not saying we need to get up and physically fight them. It's going to get to that if they try to start taking guns. It makes one wonder if they're really trying to push for a civil war. The powers that shouldn't be, really, they're pushing it right to the limit. They're testing the electric fence, as it were. But we need to stand up to them. People. For real. If you don't stand up now, you're never going to be able to, ever. This is it. I don't know. I don't know how I can hammer this home. And I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to put fear in anybody. It's not how I broadcast. But this is an important issue. You need to get mad and get involved. Don't just weekend warrior it and internet warrior it and phone it in or I shared it on Facebook or Twitter. No. People need to start going and trying to make local meetups, use social media, find people around you that are like-minded, and start now. Within the next few days, and start, if you got to go to Washington and start screaming at the tops of your lungs, okay, they're going to be sneaking things into this bill left and right, and I'm telling you, we have to pay attention. You have to get up and actually do something. If they take this away, they'll sneak it in and try to pass it, and then that's it. Bam, there go your rights. And then when they pass it, then they'll go, well, we're gonna make it, it's gonna be enacted now, today, and then now what? Oh, well, the cops would never start doing that. Really? Look what they're doing in New York. They're already sending out letters to state police to people. Oh, you can't have your gun anymore because, according to this New York State SAFE Act, if you've even ever been on anxiety medication, you can't have a gun anymore. Oh, that's not so bad. Really? Anxiety isn't a mental issue. Anxiety actually is more of a nervous system problem. But people didn't realize that. Yes, it's classified as mental or whatever, but anxiety's it's much different than what people... An anxiety attack actually mimics almost like a heart attack. How does that make you a dangerous person? Panic attacks don't cause people to run around and shoot people. I'm having a panic attack! Bang, 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 bang! But if you've ever taken anxiety medication, which... How many people out there have taken Xanax ever in their life? Even if it was for a month. Well, guess what? According to New York State, you're a criminal now. They're going to take your gun. And they're going in the... How are they finding this out? Oh, they're going into people's... The state police are going through people's medical files. Well, doesn't that violate HIPAA laws? Hey, who cares? It's a police state. And there's idiots that'll out there that'll actually follow through with this kind of garbage. There you go. It's time. The camel's nose is getting underneath the tent, ladies and gentlemen. We need to stomp on it. I'm telling you. If we don't do it, it's only going to get worse. We have to do something. We have to let them know that this can't be. This just will not be tolerated, one way or another. How about like 100,000 people roll up in Washington all at once and flash mob the place? We'll be back with hour number 2. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with hour number 2 here on tonight's live edition of Down the Rabbit Hole. I am your host, Popeye from FederalJack.com, and here in the initial short segment, I'm going to get into an article pertaining to gun control really quick, and then we come back, I want to read the post, the latest info on what's going on right now with the gun-grabbing bills in the House and the Senate, and that's from Gun Owners of America, so I'll be reading that in the next segment, coming back from break. But before that, in this short segment, I want to touch on this article really quick. It's over at the IntelliHub, IntelliHub.com. Connecticut school teaches children that people don't have gun rights. Generally, the historical curriculum in government school is skewered to portray the establishment in a positive light. History lessons make warmongers look like martyrs because the warmongers have control over the formation of these lessons. I believe Napoleon had a quote about that the winners write history. Many of the harsh realities involving the Civil War, the Great Depression, and civil rights movements were completely left out, along with the real history of slave-owning, aristocratic presidents, and robber barons. These are the pivotal points in history that one must have a clear picture of in order to make sense of what is going on in the world today. Just recently, a Connecticut school was busted attempting to rewrite history in regards to gun rights. Let's see, Fox, I guess the local Fox affiliate in Connecticut up there reported, quote, "The father of a Connecticut child is furious after discovering that his son's school is teaching students that Americans don't have a Second Amendment right to bear arms," end quote. The father said he's appalled. Sounds like to me they are trying to indoctrinate our kids. His son is an 8th grader at Northeast Middle School, and on Monday, his social studies teacher gave, I love the social studies, not history, social studies. Socialism, social studies, leaning left, lean forward and to the left. On Monday, his social studies teacher gave students a worksheet titled, quote, "The Second Amendment Today," end quote. Now, this is from this worksheet. Quote, "The courts have consistently determined that the Second Amendment does not ensure each individual the right to bear arms," end quote, the worksheet states. Quote, "The courts have never found a law regulating the private ownership of weapons unconstitutional," end quote. That's on this worksheet that they're giving to the kids. So, and it goes on to say, this means that the rights of this amendment are not extended to the individual citizens of the states. So a person has no right to complain about a Second Amendment violation by state laws. You see how they get you to give away your rights? They, instead of trying to attack you, I mean, they can come and physically try to attack you, but at the same time, they indoctrinate the youth, so that way in 5 or 10 years, those kids will go, "What are you talking about? The guns are evil. Ew, guns are bad. Ew, they're icky. Get them away from me." They kill people. Take them. Ooh, I don't want guns. Only cops and military should have guns. Ew. How many kids you see doing that today? How many people you see doing that today? You look at them and you're like, what is wrong with you? You want to slap them in the head. Like, hello? Even if if you're not some conservative that, or hardcore neocon that loves invading other countries or whatever, right? Or you're not some conservative dude that, that just wants to be left alone and loves his guns and small government, even if you're a big government fan. I'm sure everybody can agree that having a weapon to protect yourself from maybe a rapist or an axe-wielding maniac is a good thing, right? All right, we're going to break. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Don't forget, you can listen to me over if you go to my website, federaljack.com. I have a Listen Live page there. If you click on the Listen Live link up in the top right there, it'll take you to the Listen Live page. There's multiple ways to listen. There's an embedded player, links to Unbound itself, links to Unbound's tune-in stream, and there's also a chat room there if you want to go chat with any of the listeners. People come in and out as the show goes along, so feel free to go use that. It's all available on federaljack.com, or of course you could always just go to unboundradio.com and listen to the player there. Or if you have a smartphone, you can go download TuneIn on your iPhone or your Android from your respective app stores. It's free. You can just download it and then look up Unbound Radio, save us as a favorite, and bam, there you are. We're in your back pocket or your purse or your bag or wherever you put your phone. And whenever you want to tune in, you can just tune into whatever's live. If you go over to Unbound, we have the low quality archives up available for free to listen and to download. And if you subscribe to the thing, which I don't know how much it is, I know it's cheap. It only ends up being a couple bucks a month or whatever. But if you subscribe to the thing, you get access to the high quality archives or whatever, and you can download all that. And it's not just mine. Like if you subscribe to it, you'd have access to everybody's archives too. But either way, you can download all that stuff to your phones, your iPad, your whatever. And I will have the archive list on federaljack.com updated. I just updated it with a couple of the newer shows here from Unbound, and I got to put a couple more on there. And the last half of March I will have up eventually, within the next week or so. It's just I've been very slammed, ladies and gentlemen. So again, one-man operation. So I do like the work of 10 people. Sometimes I do get sidetracked and I forget things, but I will get everything done. I promise. I'm working diligently on it. I just need about an extra 4 hours a day, and I think I'd be able to get caught up in about 2 weeks. All right, let me get back to this. From the Gun Owners of America, you can go check them out, gunowners.org. The title of the post is, "The Battle Will Take Longer Than We'd Hoped." It says, "We've been fighting these gun control battles for almost 40 years now, and we've almost always win. But it's almost always a nail-biter. And so it is on Obama's gun control agenda as well. We'd hoped that we could stop the gun control bribe-a-thon early by blocking the motion to proceed to the package. But thanks to sellouts like Pennsylvania's one-term Senator Pat Toomey, we're going to have to take a different battle position and defeat the package at a later stage. The Senate today overcame the Paul Cruz Lee filibuster and voted to move to proceed to Harry Reid's gun control bill, S-649, where Reid needed 60 votes. The tally was 68-31. And if you go to when you go to Gun Owners of America's website and you look on the post, they have a hyperlink there. You can see if your traitorous senator sold you out or not. You can see how they voted. You can click right on it. Republican defectors who voted anti-gun were Alexander of Tennessee, Ayotte, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Ayotte of New Hampshire, Burr of North Carolina, Chambliss of Georgia, Collins of, looks like Maine, Corker of Tennessee, Coburn of Oklahoma, Flake of Arizona, Isaacson of Georgia, McCain of Arizona, of course he's a scumbag, Heller of Nevada, which isn't that, I could be wrong, but isn't that one of the guys that had the bill about the whole handgun thing? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I have to look that up, but that would be kind of selloutish and total scumbaggishness if that's the case. Ho Even from North Dakota, Kirk from Illinois, of course, Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. What do you expect from that warmongering scumbag? Toomey of Pennsylvania, and Wicker of, I guess it's Missouri or Mississippi. I don't know which one MS is. I can't remember right now. I had a public school education too, can you tell? Anyway, so here's where we are. Right after the Senate proceeded to the gun control bill, Harry Reid used his privileged recognition to put a bunch of amendments in place. Here we go. In Senate parlance, they are referred to as an amendment tree, and they contain the Universal Registry Bill, registration, gun registration. Oh, don't worry about gun registration. We're not voting on gun registration. It's amendment in the bill, you scumbags. Liars. The Feinstein gun ban, so her whole assault weapons ban, is now an amendment to this bill. Remember, they talked about this. I told you they were playing possum. And the high-capacity magazine ban. These will be voted on in upcoming days. As for the Toomey, Manchin, Schumer Universal Registry bill, don't believe the press's efforts to sugarcoat it. if you have ever had a, quote, internet posting on or related to your gun, you can sell it only by going to a dealer and filling out a 4473 and getting the government's approval. Only a caveman would be exempt. So if you took a picture of your gun with you, like a lot of people take pictures of their guns, hey man, I have a gun, this is me shooting my AR-15 or whatever, and you posted it up on Facebook or wherever on any it says, if you have ever had a, quote, internet posting on or related to your gun. So if you've even been like, I love my AR-15 on your Facebook status update, no picture, just I love my AR-15, going to shoot my AR-15 at the range today, you now have to go, if you want to sell it, you have to go fill out a 4473. I mean, are you kidding me? Really? Like it says, only a caveman would be exempt. So you don't have to have posted pictures. And I always say you shouldn't be posting pictures of your stuff on the internet anyway, but it tells you right there, look, you wouldn't even have to be posting the photos of it. You could just be mentioning your gun. I love going to the range and shooting my .357 Magnum. I had so much fun today. My dad and I went shooting. That'd be your Facebook post. Bam. Now you got, if you ever want to sell that gun because you mentioned a .357 Magnum, is that the one you mentioned on Facebook 4.5 years ago on, April 11th, 2013? Get on the ground, terrorist! Oh no, that could never happen. This is America. This is America, right? Once you have a 4473, well, guess what? The ATF is going from dealer to dealer to dealer, and they're copying the information on these forms and feeding it into a database. But, says Toomey, he's against universal registries. You do realize that if you're filling out a piece of paper and not putting it into a computer, and someone keeps that piece of paper, and then they go out and they put that piece of paper, the information on said piece of paper, into a computer file, that is still registration. It doesn't matter if you made 6 extra steps in between, which government normally does anyway. I mean, they have to make them busy work for themselves. So, obviously, you're either an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about to me, or you're a flat-out liar, which I think it's the second one, not first one. I mean, a lot of times they are ignorant about a lot of things, but I think he's just a liar. Registration in violation of privacy. First of all, Toomey's anti-registry language prohibits photocopying the 4473s, but it doesn't prohibit going into the FFL with a laptop and copying all of the information. Second, ATF takes the position that the data it's accumulating in its database is not a, quote, registry, so Toomey's ban does no good. Third, guess what the sanction is for the violation of Toomey's anti-registry language. Answer, Eric Holder has to choose to prosecute himself in his own department. Now, I don't know if anybody pays attention to recent history, but I do recall that the Justice Department refuses to investigate itself, Eric Holder, the President, Fast and Furious, and numerous other things. The Justice Department won't even go after the people on Wall Street. They're too big. We can't go after them. Too big to jail. But they're going to come after you and your gun. And this isn't the only bad thing. Section 107 of the sellout also waives any federal privacy prohibitions under HIPAA to sending the names of Americans with PTSD, ADHD, and postpartum depression to the gun ban database. But that's not all. Believe in Jesus? Hand in your guns, because private shrinks will be able to add patients' names into a federal database of the, quote, mentally ill without due process. You'll be at their mercy. Eric Erickson says, quote, activist mental health providers will probably be overly aggressive in adding people to the list. giving it 5 years in liberal areas, and people who believe in the physical resurrection of Christ will probably get automatic entry into the list. So what he's saying is, if you'll have these mental health providers who are, uber leftists, and they could be commies, socialists, whatever you want to call them, and they'll be activists in how they do things, and they'll say, you know what, I think if someone comes in, Doc, I'm a little stressed out, I just having a bad day today, blah 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 blah, job, blah blah blah. Oh, you're crazy. You need to go into a mental health list. You can't have a gun. That's simple. Some Weasley little wormy putz decides that you can't have your Second Amendment right anymore. Not elected, even though Second Amendment clearly states that, it is what it is. Declaration of Independence clearly states what it does. But all that aside, some wormy little putz could decide, you're mentally ill. Remember I said after the Newtown shooting, everybody kept saying, we need to focus on mental health. And I said, watch out what you're preaching. Go back and listen to my older broadcasts from around December and into January. I did a whole ton on gun control. And I said, listen to the older ones. People that heard them will know what I'm talking about. So be careful what you preach for it, the mental health crap. Because now you fart in the wrong direction and you're going to have a mental health disorder. Right? Well, Popeye, I don't think people with PTSD should have guns. Why? You can help them through it. The medications that they give them are horrific. Perhaps if they gave them cannabis oil and actually sat down and talked to them and helped them, it might be better. And yes, there are people that have really bad PTSD, where if you come up on you can't touch them and stuff. I know. I know. But labeling them and marginalizing them, treating them like a bunch of outcasts, taking things away from them, how does not allowing them to defend themselves or protect themselves, how is that going to empower them to help get over that PTSD? Especially if it's like a rape victim. Because rape victims, they are, especially in the military, they can get PTSD. Like if they go to the VA, you can get a PTSD rating for rape. So what happens? What happens then? Now the raped victim can't go out and get a gun to defend herself? Well, I guess you just shouldn't be a woman and get raped, huh? It's your damn fault. I mean, the Brady campaign was right when they released that banner a couple months back that said, hey, rape lasts 30 seconds, but murder lasts a lifetime. No crime is worth taking a life. You think I'm kidding? Go look it up. I've talked about this. So they were basically saying, look, just lie down and take it because, it's better to be raped than you killing somebody. Disgusting. All these lawmakers. Dianne Feinstein, I doubt a woman would be able to wield a gun to defend herself anyway. Really? Well, maybe that's you. Okay, Dianne? There's plenty of women I know out there that can kick some ass. Ladies, this should piss you off. If you've been raped and they say, oh, you have PTSD, guess what? There goes your gun. How does that empower a victim? It doesn't. It just keeps you victimized. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Short segment. Coming up on the other side, I'm going to play a piece of audio. I know I played this last week for you guys, but I know that it was, I think it was on the second broadcast that we were doing, and I know that, we were hammering out whatever little bugs we had last week when we launched the network. So, in case anybody missed the audio, I want to play it again because it's important, again, because there's so much ignorance in the mass public when it comes to guns, because it has been bred out of them over the years. People don't know unless they've had parents or people in their family or been in the military or whatever, and they were exposed to it. Most people don't know. They buy the myths, whatever they've been fed, right? And most people, those myths are, if the parent is ignorant and they believe it, then they teach the kid, and then that kid grows up and has kids, and then they teach their kid that, and then it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. Well, this was audio made by a police officer named Officer Leroy Pyle, and it was put together, him and a group of other, officers that were against gun control back in the 90s, and they made this video to show the difference between fully automatic and semi-automatic. And I can't hammer this home enough because so many people are so ignorant to the difference between the two. They don't understand. They don't understand that a semi-automatic goes pop, pop, pop. And yeah, so you can go pop, 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 pop. Oh, of course, because I can squeeze my finger that fast. And if you're a good shooter, you'd pop, 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 double tap at least to the chest. You wouldn't do one shot. It pop, pop, maybe I triple tap, pop, 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 two to the chest, one to the forehead. But I digress. The point is, pop, pop, pop. Fully automatic is brrr, and you just went through 30 rounds. You'll hear it. It's important for me to hammer this point home because most people are well-intentioned when they get behind a lot of these things. Well, I don't want my kids being shot. They just don't know any better. We should ban semi-automatics. All semi-autos should be banned. Really? You realize that that's an over 100-year-old technology. That would be like getting rid of cars and going back to walking and horseback. Yes. That would be the equivalent of taking 10 steps back. Screw electricity. Let's go back to candlelight. And why are we banning these things anyway? Because of a school shooting and a shooting in a movie theater. So we ban the guns? What about the mass stabbing that just happened in Texas 2 or 3 days ago at a college campus? It's like 12 or 14 people were stabbed with a knife. What about knife troll? Where's the calls for mass bans on knives? You know, they actually called it an assault knife. There was news reports where they called it an assault knife. An assault knife. It goes to show you that this isn't even a real word. They're like pop culturist mind control terms that they use to control you. The MSMC. The mainstream mind control. They have to get you to be afraid and go, oh my God, yeah, we need you to protect us. No, you don't. They've never protected you, and they never will. They want to subjugate you, and the only way they can do that is if you can't defend yourselves, people. Wake up. It's that simple. Oh, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. Tyranny. Pfft, this is America. Genius. Perhaps you should go look up Smedley Butler. Yeah. Who's he? Smedley? Oh, must be some hoity-toity waiter type guy. Yeah, I doubt it. If he were alive and you said it to his face, he'd probably knock your block off. He's only one of the most highly decorated Marines ever. Ever. I think he is the most highly decorated Marine ever. Just look up Smedley Butler. I won't ruin the suspense for you. Go look up what happened when he was alive and what people, certain people tried to get him to be a part of. There's no conspiracy. You're just a conspiracy theorist. Okay. It's happened before. They've turned the National Guard on people before. What's to say that they wouldn't do it again? To take guns. Come on, people, wake up. History can repeat itself. We need to head this off at the past before it gets violent. They want it to get violent. Don't you understand? That's the name of the game for them because they're set up to deal with that. That's also the only thing they're set up to deal with is violence. So they have to push every outcome to be violent. Because then it justifies all their lies and they can come in with their military and bombs and rockets and guns and cops and everything else. Oh yeah. So we have to think outside the box. And we still have to defeat this, and we will. We're going to break. We'll be right back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Why would they want to take away your right to defend yourself? Seriously. Why would they want to take away your right to defend yourself? What is the point of taking away your right to defend yourself? It doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. Why would they want to disarm a victim of rape? Because that's what's going to happen. You see, nobody thinks about the details. They hear scary terms, PTSD, craziness, postpartum depression, whatever. They hear all these scary terms and these horror stories. Haven't you seen Law and Order, Popeye? It's the Constitution's fault, after all, that all the bad stuff happens on that show. If you know what I'm talking about, watch any episode of Law and Order, and the moral of the story on the show will be that the Constitution protects criminals, and that's the reason why bad guys get away with stuff, is because of the Constitution. I'm not kidding. If you look at it, don't buy into the story. Look at it with some logic. Don't buy into the emotion of the story, right? Turn off that and look at the stories with logic. Understand the trivium. Understand all this stuff. Understand logical fallacies. And then go back and watch that stuff. You'll see what I'm talking about the programming that goes on. How come they don't empower people and tell people, you know what, if you're a victim of rape, you should go out and get a gun. That way you can feel a little more secure. Next time, if it happens again, you'll be able to defend yourself a little bit better. Because you know what, just like you heard me play last night from the Stossel clip with the one victim, the wife, what did she say? She said, look, I'm a little tiny, nothing, little 105 pound, or 90 pound, whatever she was. She's a tiny little thing. We'll say like 90 pound or 100 pound woman, 105 pound woman. She said, some guy 250 pounds, 6'4", with his bare hands, he could overpower me. But if I have a gun, him and I are equal. She's correct. So why would the politicians want to take away these people's rights to be on the same, on an even level with everybody around them, self-defense wise? Because they don't want you armed. Again, they have to push us into a violent outcome because that's all they can control. Anyway, I want to get to this audio really quick. This is Officer Leroy Pyle on the difference between semi-automatic and fully automatic.
Hello, my name is Leroy Pyle. I'm a police officer in San Jose, California. And during most of my 25-year career, I've been involved in firearms training, a little training, education, and also competition. As a result, I've also gotten involved with private citizens using firearms, a lot of safety, schools, and a lot of competition. I'm familiar with some of the controversy involved with firearms now, a lot of emotions. In fact, we're about an hour and a half away from Stockton, California, where I'm sure you're aware of a recent tragedy. I don't mean to belittle that tragedy. I can share those emotions. About a week after that, I had two of my partners killed on the streets of San Jose, so I understand the emotions. But part of my job as a police officer for all these years has been to cut through the emotions and get to the facts. That's the only way you can settle an issue. You have to have the truth. I'd like to share a little bit of facts with you because I honestly feel that some of the emotions here have impaired any ability to make a good judgment. I have some firearms available that I'd like to show you. I have some in fully automatic, I have some in semi-automatic, and I have some that were designed for hunting. I'd like to show you a comparison, and I think if you have a little better understanding of what these firearms really are for, what they do, what they look like, you too can maybe cut through some of the emotions and make what I hope would be a good decision. The confusion and misunderstanding over firearms is a result of the mislabeling. I have firearms here on the table. I have a fully automatic assault rifle, and many times the press likes to use those words, trigger words if I might add, assault rifle, military, fully automatic. This is a fully automatic assault rifle. This is banned, it's prohibited, and limited almost virtually to police and military use. A citizen cannot go into the store and purchase this. And yet, this is usually one that's displayed on your television set. These are usually the terms used by the news media. Then they'll pick up a semi-automatic firearm. This is a semi-automatic firearm. The primary difference is that the assault rifle, the fully automatic firearm, you pull a trigger once and it will repeatedly fire and will continue to fire until all rounds are expended. This is a semi-automatic firearm. You fire once with each pull of the trigger. If you notice, these two firearms look alike. They look very much alike. They operate entirely differently. This one is legal, semi-automatic. This one is an illegal, fully automatic. They look alike. Here, I have a hunting rifle. This is also semi-automatic and one used for hunting game. This also, being semi-automatic, fires one round with each pull of the trigger. If you notice, these two do not look alike, but they function alike. They are virtually the same, only cosmetically different. It's important to keep that in mind. A person will say, this is fully automatic. The uninformed, most of the time the press, will refer to this as a fully automatic assault rifle, and This is a fully automatic assault rifle. Please, by definition, this is the assault rifle. This is the only one that's fully automatic. It's prohibited for purchase in the United States except by police and law enforcement. Let me show you exactly what I mean. I've got my hearing protection here. We'll take these firearms out and I'll shoot them one at a time, and you can see for yourself just exactly how they operate and exactly how they're alike in some ways and very different in other ways. This is the fully automatic firearm. It's an AK-47. Primary feature is with one pull of the trigger, it will fire repeatedly. It'll fire until you either release the trigger or you expend all the rounds. Let me show you.
That was fully automatic. As I said, the blink of an eye, the magazine is empty.
It's a semi-automatic firearm. A look-alike, but very much different. One pull of the trigger, you get one round. You get another round, you have to pull the trigger again. Let me show you that.
This is what they're trying to ban. Massive difference. But fear won't get you to look at things with logic, will it?
This too is a semi-automatic. The feature with semi-automatic, one pull of the trigger, one round. If you notice, the action very similar to the other firearms, but very much different from the fully automatic rifle. This too is a hunting rifle. Again, one pull of the trigger, one round. The semi-automatic is just that, semi-automatic. One pull of the trigger, one round. That's a technology that's over 100 years old. If you ban that technology, you ban about 20 million firearms. Let's take a little closer look at them. This is the semi-automatic technology I referred to. You notice cosmetically there is a difference, but if you get to the working parts, the actual action, they're identical. In fact, let me show you just exactly how identical. This is the military look-alike. If you take off a cover, the working part compared to this hunting rifle, take off the cover, and the working parts are identical. Again, semi-automatic technology. One pull of the trigger, one round. Entirely different from the military fully automatic assault rifles. I'd like to show you how a simple cosmetic change could lend to the confusion in this attempt to try to define something as an assault rifle. This is a very popular, very common semi-automatic rifle. It's in a very popular and common caliber, that's caliber .223. I'd like you to watch while I just change the looks and see if you can't see how it might get a little confusing. As you can see, just changing from wood to plastic makes a big difference in its appearance and probably would even change a person's opinion. And is that what makes a difference, whether it has a wooden stock or if it has a plastic stock and maybe a bipod? Actually, just like in those other firearms that I was demonstrating, the action is the same. The semi-automatic mechanism is common to millions of firearms, not just the rifle. I'm sure any of you shoot trap or skeet, you know that the semi-automatic shotgun is very, very popular. For home defense or for target practice, the semi-automatic pistol is very, very popular. In fact, much more popular nowadays than the revolver is. Terms like assault rifle are hard to define. I don't know what an assault rifle is. I doubt very much if a member of BATF could tell you exactly what an assault rifle is.
Any type of legislation that's framed and drafted in relation to assault, what we're referring to here this morning is assault or paramilitary type weapons, there will be an inherent difficulty in drafting this. And the difficulty is that it's going to be very hard to draw a clear distinction between what we have as an assault type rifle and a semi-automatic sporting weapon. The assault weapon has a very menacing appearance to it. But this gun, technologically, as far as how it fires, is pretty much the same as a sporting semi-automatic rifle, with the exception that this firearm has an exotic type appearance to it. Put a standard type stock on it and remove the bayonet mount. It would also even have the appearance of a sporting type weapon.
Frequently hear reference to the fact that a semi-automatic rifle can be easily converted to fully automatic. That's not true.
Why? Because these military-style assault weapons of today are not easily and readily convertible without extensive knowledge and modifications to the weapon and/or a substitution of available parts. Now, in my 12 years within the unit, considering the enormous amount of firearms that we have taken into custody, and that's over 50,000, I would say, and these include the ones from the hardcore gangs and from the drug dealers, our unit has never, ever had one AK-47 converted, one Ruger Mini-14 converted, an H&K 9193 never converted, an AR-180 never converted. So this media blitz of many of these assault weapons or supposedly military-style weapons are being converted to full automatic is not true.
So millions of law-abiding citizens own this semi-automatic technology. It would really be a shame if you legislated against that technology, and it would be really sad if that legislation was as a result of just some confusion and misunderstanding, and especially by mislabeling. I hope I've been able to help you with some of this information.
That's one of the biggest problems is mislabeling. The term labeling. Oh, it's a scary assault rifle. You just heard a police officer tell you, and by the way, this was made for Congress back then, this and congressmen, senators, the House, whatever you want to call it, Capitol Hill, the morons, Congress critters, whatever you want to call them, traitors. This was made for them back then to educate them about the difference between fully automatic and semi-automatic, and banning semi-automatic technology, and you're banning a hunting rifle. Semi-automatic hunting rifles, he used a semi-automatic hunting rifle, a semi-automatic scary-looking, quote-unquote, assault rifle. It's just a semi-automatic rifle, and then he had a fully automatic assault rifle. And you can see from the outside, two of them look the same, but they're completely different. And then the other two look different, but operate the same, the hunting rifle and the regular semi-automatic that looks like its military cousin. People don't have common sense when it comes to guns because a lot of the generations now that we're dealing with, people that are in power, a lot of them have never been exposed to it, so they don't know. It's important to hear this. Did you hear the difference between fully automatic and semi-automatic? Massive difference. Politicians and news media scare you into believing the first one you heard, fully automatic. Brrr. They scare you into believing that that's what these high-capacity magazines can do. They feed it at a super fast, high rate of speed. No, they don't. They feed like any other magazine would. It just allows for more ammo. But your military can have high-capacity magazines. 300 and 400 round drums. That's okay, right? Big boxes. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, history is repeating itself, and we need to pay attention to what has happened in the past. Fascist regimes. The Department of Homeland Security is serving domestic warrants. They're slowly taking over, ladies and gentlemen, incrementally. If they did it too fast, you'd notice. But DHS is taking over. They got their 2700 MRAPs. Mine-resistant ambush protection vehicles. And now they're using these vehicles with their SRT teams, their special response teams, to go and serve domestic warrants. They're doing it in El Paso, Texas. They're going to be, and I guarantee you they're doing it all over the rest of the country. Why is Homeland Security serving warrants? Well, we're helping law enforcement. We can send our SWAT team in. They have an armored vehicle. If the guy had a handgun, an officer could have been killed. If we can save one officer by sending in armored vehicles and getting people used to seeing police in armored vehicles, government agencies, the Department of Homeland Security. Where have I heard the Department of Homeland Security before? No, it wouldn't be the SS. The SS, they were a different organization. You're thinking of the Gestapo. Yes, the Gestapo is what the DHS is like. Hitler is probably dancing the Irish jig in hell right now, okay? He wishes he had the balls to do what they're doing. See, he did it too fast. People realized there was some sort of tyranny going on. Ladies and gentlemen, we're becoming Nazi Germany. Oh, I know, that's a cliche thing now because people use it over and over and over again. Well, it's the truth. All you need is a Gleiwitz radio station event. Tarpley was talking about this the other day. Keep an eye out for that type of stuff. What's Gleiwitz, Popeye? Go look how they invaded Poland. They being Germany, Nazi Germany. Go look at the excuse that they used to invade Poland and start what we know as World War II. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we need to pay attention. This is really happening. Okay, we have a chance to change history, but the window of opportunity is closing, and if everybody keeps paying attention to North Korea or this or that and not focusing on what's going on, we're not going to be able to worry about North Korea or anything else. You won't have a say on whether or not your government goes into World War III, because if you voice your opinion, the Gestapo will come with their mind-resistant NRAPs to your front door and drag you and your family off to a nice little camp off in the mountains where you will probably be turned into soap or lampshades. Oh, I know, Popeye, that's just tasteful. I'm not trying to be distasteful, I'm trying to be honest. Or you'll be experimented on. That'll probably be more than likely what would happen with whoever was left alive that they didn't just execute on the spot. They would keep them alive for experiments, whatever they want to do, their little island of Dr. Moreau type crap that they pull. I say no. I say you take your Gestapo and you stick it up your, what? Stick it up your ass. I'll just say it. I don't care. I won't be family friendly tonight. Cram your Gestapo where the sun don't shine. The Coast Guard, as an ex-Coastie, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Guard needs to come correct, pull its head from its ass, and leave DHS. We can't do that. There's bills. Congress put something together saying that we have to be under DHS. Well, the Commandant of the Coast Guard needs to be a man. This is ridiculous. I'm ashamed. I'm literally ashamed to have been a part of that service and that organization now. I'm ashamed that I was part of it when they came under the umbrella of DHS. Absolutely disgusting. Gestapo. That's why they don't want you having guns. See, they have to push it to a violent outcome, a violent whatever. Because if they don't have the violence, right? If they don't have the people rising up, shooting gunfights, and then rounding people up and putting them in camps and everything else, they can't control it any other way. The only outcome they can control is violence. So that's why they keep trying to push it towards that. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to let it get there. We can head it off at the pass before it gets too violent. But people need to start paying attention now. The flash mob, 100,000 people in the Capitol. You think maybe that would get a point across? Maybe 200,000 people, 300,000 people, 500,000 people, 1 million people. We have 300 million people in this friggin' country. You think maybe a few of you could get pissed off? You'll drive to Six Flags. How about saving the money? You drive to Six Flags and drive to D.C. I say we flash mob D.C. 1 million people. Protest for your rights. Because you know what? If you don't stand up for them, you're going to quickly lose them, ladies and gentlemen. It's the way it goes.
This is Sparta!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time for this evening. I will catch you all again tomorrow night. Until then, No fear, only love. I love you all. I'm out of here. Remember, tomorrow night, JFK special. My guest, Vince Palomero.